Okay, so in previous session we have seen how to create a post method with the entity framework and how to prepare the object and how to send it through Postman. But yesterday we were seeing some issue, so now we'll see how to fix it and we'll move forward. So this is the controller method. So we created a patient view model. So this patient view model represents the patient model. So the patient model represents the database table. So what is the difference between this view model and model? Model is very close to your database table. So if you see the address model, this is a view model again. So if you see the address model or patient model, yeah, these all are the models. So these will closely represent your database table. These will closely represent your database table. So this will have a lot of information like what is a foreign key, what is a primary key and all. And this view model, it's again a class, but it will contain the format which will be easy to transport data between your controller and your uh, different layers, and even the client application tomorrow when we start and Mhm. Yeah, yeah, this is a model. Yes. So the this is this has been created based on your database. So yeah, if you see this address ID here, it will be there, and your address uh, model, and here you can see the virtual. So when you see the virtual, that means it's a foreign primary key relationship. So we cannot send data to the client in the same way how we are from the receiving it from the database. So this view model is again another layer of sending data from your API to the client application. So even client application will send data, right? So there are multiple advantages or multiple cases when we go for view model, because you your API will send data to outside world, right? Your API will send data to Angular application, React application. So sometimes the application can be a third party application, okay? And also they will send data from their end. So the Angular application will send data, React application will send data, whatever client application will send is there, that will send data to the API. So if you are exposing the model directly, the outside world, they will get to know what is your table structure. Okay, even though it's not a big threat, but still the hackers can get to know what kind of data elements you are using. So that is first option, first scenario. And second scenario, few things we cannot handle the way the database is handling. So here the virtual address, right? So when you say it's a primary and foreign key, and these models, they are not flexible for data representation. So these view models, they are purely for data representation. You will get data from your database by using these pure database models, and you'll convert the data into view model, which is a plain C sharp. It will not have any uh, primary foreign key relationships. It will not have any virtual keywords. Okay, it's a plain C sharp class. So your API will convert data from the database into this view model, and this view model will be shared to the client. And the client also, if you see, it's a Postman is a client. Okay, so it is sending data in the view model format only. Yeah, go ahead. What is your question? Yeah. Not mapped means, let's remove this. So not mapped means sometimes these you will not pass it from the when you are inserting the data or when you are updating the data. Let's see. So not mapped means even though if you don't provide data for this, the database should not complain. So you are when you say not mapped, no, when you say not mapped, you are removing the database relationship with this column. I'll say 1, 2, 3. Okay, it inserted. So let's see whether this get inserted or not. So database, patient information. Yeah, we can check through API and also we can check through database. Yeah, 1, 2, 3 get inserted. Okay, so here if you see this patient information, okay, see the columns, ID, name, date of birth, address ID, medical notes, mobile number, email address. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 columns we have, right? But if you see your model, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this is the eighth one. So suppose this not mapped mainly you will use when you are not using the um, view models. So suppose you are using this directly this model only, you are not using the view models, but you are sending some additional data. Suppose say it as a public string some additional remarks, additional client remarks. Okay, so like when you are sending data from here, you're adding this, your client is adding this property and sending data. But this is not part of your table. This is not part of your table. So let's try this. And this is not nullable. So let's run this. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4. Okay. Can you see? An error while saving the entity changes. because this object you are getting here and you are trying to assign this object to here patient information. So this patient information has a additional field even though this is null. So your database entity is trying to save a patient information with this null value and your database does not contain that value. So now what you do, you say not mapped. So when you say not mapped, the same request I'm going to save it again, and let's see. So you can understand when the issue occurs. So suppose the any error occurred here, that means the error is happening when you are converting your data into the model. If the error occurred here, that means here you are updating locally, not to the database. And if something error pop up here, so this is the place where you are actually updating or inserting data into the actual database. And if it throws any error, that means some problem is with this step. Now you can see it's succeeded. So 200, and even it inserted data. No, not validation. So this will be part of your model, but this is not going to database. So when you assign some value to it, and when here you're trying to save data into database, right? So here you're trying to save data into database. So here when it's saving data into database, so generally what entity framework will do, whatever you're assigning data, it will make an object and it will prepare a insert statement like this, insert into. So this will, yeah. So the entity framework in the background, it will prepare a insert statement like this. Okay. And it will try to insert with the data you passed. So if you don't say not mapped here, if you don't say not mapped here, so what it is going to do, it's going to add that as a null or whatever value you pass. So here you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 columns, and you are trying to assign 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 values. So you are trying to assign 6 columns with 7 values. So always the number of columns and the number of values should match. Then only it will go to the first one will go to the name, second one will go to the second. Then what about this one? So if you say not mapped, so it's not going to consider when it's inserting data, updating data, it's not going to consider and prepare a statement like this. It will ignore this one. So it will have 6 columns and 6 uh, value items. So that is the importance of not mapped. Get it? Okay. So let's see the data in the Postman. Uh, So get all patients. Okay, so new log data. So there is some glitch with this one. Let's see what is that. Okay. Okay, again here you have to create new address ID. So get information, new address. Is it new address view model? Yeah, new address view model. Yeah, it's going to pull the data. So now let's see how to implement get specific. How to implement a get specific uh, record. Get a single patient information. Go here. Okay. So patient information. So this is the patient information. Find asynchronously. But this one you are going to assign into. So this one should be your view model. So where is iPatient information? Okay. So change everything into view model. Come here. Get patient view model. So return new patient information view model equal to copy this. Okay. Remove this. Yeah. So this is actually patient information, date of birth, patient information, address, view model. Okay. So let's see. There are compile time errors. Okay. So this is going to return patient information view model. Okay. So get space add request, get a patient, get a patient. So this is going to take the same. So look at your Swagger. So this is master patient information, right? So how to call this? Uh, so API patient information ID. So you can test it here, try it out. To okay. So why? Okay, patient information. Okay, why it is? Uh, Okay, avoid. Let's see what is the error. Object reference. Okay, might be get patient information. So here what I'm trying to do, return new patient information view model, address equal to, so let's where patient information view model equal to patient information view model and return this one. Basically both are same, but let's see this. White we are already using it. Okay, not this one. We are using. Okay, so what? Okay, ID is not returning here, so we need to make some changes to it. Okay, object reference. Which object reference? Patient information. So look for the data address ID 1. Okay, date of birth, email address, ID, medical notes. Okay, address is null. Okay. So here, if the address is null, you're not going to do that. Okay. So if address is null, uh, patient okay, patient address. Okay, address equal to. So there is a if condition you have to write. Patient information dot address equal to null, then question mark null, or else. Okay, so here this is a single line question mark. So if the page first it will check. So this entire condition is a if condition. So it's like this. If address, if patient information dot address equal to null, so it's going to address will be null, or else it's going to assign the entire object. So the same thing in C#, it's a minimized version. So the patient information, if it is null, question mark. So that means if this condition true, you're going to assign this part, else, colon means else, you're going to assign this to address. So this entire statement is a single line statement. So you're assigning an address value. So if the patient information dot address is null, this null value you're going to assign to this address field. If this is not null, the else condition, that means the object you're going to assign to this address field. Okay, so let's try it out. 3. Oh, you got the reply. See, address is null. If 1, see again address is null. I don't know why the address. Okay, address is not saving into the database. Let's see. Address ID. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. Did you understand what is the issue? So you will have only address ID here, but the address will be stored here. But you are not retrieving the address from here. So there should be a where condition. Okay. So we will change this little bit different. So insurance, we are going to write a join query here. Okay. So from patient in context, what is that context? Insurance context. Insurance management context dot patient information dot, yeah, patients join which table? It's address in insurance management context dot addresses. So where condition, where patient information dot address ID equal to equals, or you can say equal to address dot ID, and then you have to select this entire thing. So this is so this object, patient date of birth ID, patient email address, patient medical notes, patient mobile number, patient name. So here it's going to be address not equal to null, then address, no, this is address, right? Address. So this is address dot city ID, address dot house number, address dot is communication, address dot address street. Okay, let's see and use this. Yeah, use the await keyword and return this. Okay, so let's run this, and if it works, I'll explain it. Okay, yeah, you have to specify on okay. So the patient address ID equal to, and in the where condition, you have to specify patient dot ID equal to ID. Yeah. Uh, equal to ID. What is that? Where patient ID both are not matching. It's an integer. So what is the ID in the patient model? It's an ID. Patient model, it's an ID. It's also an ID where patient ID equal to why it is throwing an error. Does not contain a definition, get awaited. Is it dot first asynchronously? Yeah. So basically this is going to return a um, list. I'll show the difference. What is first asynchronous? Okay, so get patient information ID. Try it. Did you see? You got the address, right? So what is this query? So here we are using two tables to pull the data. One is patient information and the other one is address. So for this patient, Mike Arthur, okay, the address ID is 1. And if you go to address table, this is the address. This is the address for him. So if you want to see the patient information and the address, you have to write a join query. So in entity framework, so you are using two tables. So patient informations is the first table. Insurance address is the second table. And these are alias names. Okay. So this table, you are giving a alias name as a patient. For this address, you are giving a alias name address. And these two tables, on what basis they are going to join? They are going to join on the address ID. So in the patient information, we have address ID. So that is equal to the address dot ID. So what this will do, this will pull all the records which matches the address ID in the patient information and the ID in the um, address table. And on top of that, it's going to add a where condition. I don't need all the um addresses. I don't need all the patients. I need only the ID I passed. So that's why the where condition will be added here. And finally, you are going to return the value. Okay. So here I'll show where list equal to, if I don't use this, what this will happen. So where return equal to list dot. So this is going to return only wait. So this is going to return, this method is going to return only the patient information view model, right? So let's debug and see. Okay, what is this? Wait, does not continue. Okay, use await here. Okay, okay, this is returning. Okay, first asynchronously. Yeah, but still wait. Okay, return. return statement. Yeah. So see the difference between those two. So we know this is going to return only one record. This statement is going to return only one record, but how it is going to do that? So I'm passing ID 2. Okay. So let's debug. See the list type. See the list type. So what is the type? It's a iQueryable patient information domain view model. Okay. So that means even though this is returning a single record, it's going to add that record in a list. So it's going to add this record in a list. Can you see result view of 0? That means this record it's adding to the list and returning. So when this link query, always it will return a list, whether it is returning one record, two records, three records, 10 records, always that those records will be kept in a list, and that list will be returned. That list will be returned. And I am not going to return any list here. I have to return only the patient information view model, not list of patient information view models. So that's why I have to check this, and I have to return the first asynchronously. So this list dot first asynchronously will give record of the view model. So there is an issue with this approach. So let's see this. So I'm passing an ID of 10. I don't have that ID in the database. So now what is this going to do? The problem with first asynchronously, it will throw an error if there is no record exist. Obviously I don't have record 10. So this is going to throw an error. This is going to throw an error, which I should not do that. So to avoid that, you can do first or default. But this is not a avoid, like it's not an asynchronous method. Okay, so you can say first or this one, sorry, first or default asynchronously have to use. Yeah, if you are using first or default, it's not a avoid method. If you are using first or default asynchronously, that is avoid method. But the problem with this, it's going to return uh, a default record if that doesn't exist. If the record exists, it will return. So when there is a record, it will return. And if there is no record, it's going to return a default. So an empty record it will return. So if you see name string, but I don't want to do this. When there is a no record, it should not. It should simply return null value. So how can I do that? So list not equal to null ampersand list dot count greater than 0, then that means at least there will be one record, right? So return, so in that case it will return what is that, list dot first asynchronously, otherwise null. So list count list dot count. So what it is complaining about? The number of elements operator cannot be applied to the operand of type method group. List not equal to null ampersand list count dot returns the number of elements in the sequence. Okay. Count not equals 1. Mhm. So where return equal to ampersand list dot count asynchronously greater than 0. Greater than 0. No, it's not allowing. I don't know why. Can't be applied to operands of method group. Okay, I'll see this. What condition I need to apply here? Okay, just check the return. So if list equal to null, not equal to null, then it's going to return the await, use await. So it's going to return the await. Otherwise, it's going to return the null value. So even we need to check the count. Yeah, we can check that out. Patient information ID. Number 2. If number 2, it's going to return the record. If number 20, so let's see. So list not equal to, so list not equal to null. List not equal to null. Okay, we can do easily. So there is a, yeah, sorry, there was a better option. So list dot any. So this will return true if it has at least one element, one record or one item in the list. Then in that case, I'm going to return the first. Otherwise, I'm going to return the null. Yeah, list.any will work. So when you are working with entity framework, this is very important, knowing these things. Um, so if it is a valid record, it's going to return, and if it's an invalid record, so then see what it's going to return. Yeah, it's still returning empty because this is returning an empty. So even though this is returning null, but this entire method is going to return an empty object. Okay, so from here it's returning null only, but this method will return a empty object to the controller. Okay, so any questions? So just to summarize, today we learned a lot of good things in entity framework. So we have seen how to fix our query in the previous session for the insert. Okay, so this is the insert. Then we have seen how to get a specific student patient information. So in that process, we have seen joins. So joins are very important. Joins are very much important. Okay. Um, and like all the topics, whatever we discussed today, the joins and the equal, and also this single line if condition. So when you are working on new versions of the .NET like entity framework or lambda expressions, the single line will be very handy, and also list.na and list.first asynchronously. So tomorrow we are going to see the get all method. We will convert this get all method to in the same way the joins. Okay, not this one. Get all, yeah, get all patient information. We'll convert that into to use the address table, and then we are going to see update and delete. Okay, so you guys have any questions? Otherwise, we'll see in the next session.